Hello my loves, welcome back to another video with your host Juice, and welcome back to House of Gods. So today's video is talking about why we shouldn't judge based off of someone's appearance or what this person may give off in the moment and other outside factors. So I'll take it, you guys can learn from my personal experiences, which I can talk about best is from my personal experience. So overall, all my life, I've had many people judge me based off what I look like, how I speak, and things of that nature, and they come up with their own assumptions in their minds, believing that they truly know who I am. And this is a mistake that a lot of us make, that I've been able to observe and experience on many different levels and with many different kinds of people. And the reason why it's such a great mistake is because you rob yourself of the experience of getting to truly know that person. Now, there are exceptions, because there are people out there that can read past what you may be wanting to show the world. They can read past your mask. They can read past your shallow energy and can really see the real you deep down inside. We're not talking about that. That's an exception. Here I'm talking about just mindless behavior. No pun intended. Mindless behavior in the human experience, where we just go about judging people and prejudging them. Now, as I mentioned, it's a great mistake, because you rob yourself the pleasure and the delight of getting to know that person and experiencing that person for yourself. Now, here in the US, growing up in the places I did, being around the people that I did, it was always a melting pot. And with the background that I have, I was raised by multiple people, and their cultures were different. And that means the food that we ate that they ate was different. The way that they spoke was different. The things that they believed in were different. The ways in which they expressed themselves were different. The ways in which they viewed the world and others were different. What was respect to them, what was disrespectful to them, it all varied depending on the culture and where they're from. So I got a really great scoop of many cultures, and I grew up with that, and I implement that to this day in my life. And I've known many people that are that way as well. So in America and other places as well, we see people talk and say, well, you're from here, or you're this race, which we'll get into another video about race, because race is a made up thing. I want to say like the 1900s, like early 1900s. But that's another topic for another day. Let's stay on course. So they'll be like, well, you're this race and you do this, or you speak this way. And the reason why it's mindless behavior is because, like I mentioned, a person like me, I was raised in a very multicultural background, and I'm naturally going to adopt that culture's way of speaking. And it also depends on the area too, because me personally, I was raised in Georgia, and it's very country accent in Georgia, as opposed if you're from New York and you talk like this. Wait, that sounded kind of like New York British. Anyways, talk, the dog, coffee, hot dog, stuff like that. Y'all get where I'm coming from. So, a lot of times people would be very surprised and they would ask me questions that were underlying shots or underlying nastiness. And a lot of times they were also very curious. And I'm grateful for the people that were genuinely curious to know more about me. Because, as I mentioned, I grew up with a very multicultural background. Therefore, I can't just be placed in a certain box. And that goes for many people too. Now, it's different when you don't appreciate a culture and you appropriate it. It's very different. That's when you, for example, you take something that's sacred, that's ancient, and you just completely discard the sacredness of it, and you try to make it like it was never there. I'm in complete disagreement with that. But me being who I am, I'm not that type of person. And there's many people that are the same as me as well. When you grow up in a certain culture, with certain cultures, and depending on the area, as I mentioned, you naturally, it just becomes who you are. Like me, I know I said I implement it to this day, but what I mean by that is that it's just who I am. It's second nature to me. So, and nowadays too, with social media being how it is, we get to experience each other's culture, and I find that very beautiful. I feel like diving into another culture is the spice of life. Getting to know how they live, how they view the world, how they treat each other, what's respectful to them, disrespectful, the food, just everything about diving into a culture, even the ugly parts of the culture. By ugly, I mean the things that's not so accepted in that culture, the terrible things that they may do within that culture. Just all of it, for me, is such a sacred thing to do and to delve yourself into, to experience and to get to know. You should never underestimate a person by what they look like, because you never know what that person has gone through, how they were raised, their experiences. It's just so many layers. And so for me, it's very mindless behavior when a person judges someone just because of how they look or how they talk, the way that they walk. You can't, someone may talk a certain way, but as you get to know them, you realize, wow, this person is so wise. And they may talk in parables. Like, they may talk like, the tree hanging outside, the leaves are falling, and the wind carries it to the other side of the world. I don't know, I'm just making some shit up. But I'm just saying, like, you may think you know a person and you really aren't giving them the chance to really bloom in front of you. So, as I mentioned, always, always, always give people. So, my loves, my friends from around the world and the universe, take it from me. Never judge a book by its cover, because you will be very surprised what you find inside these pages. Always give yourself the honor and the delight. Sometimes not, because you may not like what you read inside. But give yourself the experience of actually getting to know someone or something before just putting your judgment on it because it looks a certain way, because it may smell a certain way. Don't be immature. Because it looks scary to you and it's not what you're used to. Other than, I want to say thank you and I love you all. And I'll catch y'all on another video. Happy Ganesh Day.